Which tooth of the arrow broadhead is right for you? It's basically the question that we get because we have a ton of different broadheads. Our lineup is so well rounded. There's a broadhead for everybody. And there's probably a best choice for everybody too. So I'm just going to get right into it. I got a huge box of broadheads here. We're just going to break them down kind of one by one and talk about which broadhead is right for which applications and help you make a better buying decision. So to start out with, the two-blade single bevel. I love these heads. They're known as the best flying head we make, and we didn't actually think it was going to get better than our classic 1-inch vented. These have been out for like almost 2 years now, and I've never got one email or one message or anything from anyone saying they can't get these to fly like their field points, like identical. I actually get a lot of messages from people saying that these fly better than their field points, and my own results are the same. These are, if I'm taking a long poke, I know these are going to fly just perfectly. And they're a penetration machine too. Like a lot of the times people will look at these and say, wow, they're really small, but that's the idea. Smaller means less surface area, means better penetration. Better penetration means greater odds of a pass through. And we know that your odds of recovery for any animal are higher on a pass through than without a pass through. So that's not to say good shots and good blood trails haven't happened without pass throughs, but in general, pass throughs are a great thing to strive for in your setup. And if you shoot lower poundage, this is a phenomenal option. If you shoot really big bodied animals, like if you're a moose or elk hunter primarily, this is a fantastic option, especially for that what if shot on shoulders. If you happen to make a poor shot that you didn't mean to, these are your best odds of success on a suboptimal shot on a really big animal like a moose or an elk. And the rotation of these things is insane. I've got another video here on YouTube where you can see I demonstrate just how much these rotate. It's crazy. You shoot them into foam and they literally twist their way out. There's naysayers, but you shoot them once and you'll see it's unbelievable. But the two blade is not a head that you can go wrong with in any circumstance. They fly out of crossbows, they fly out of any bow. They're great for recurves. This is kind of your all around head. If you're new to fixed blade broadheads and your bow might not quite be set up perfectly for them, this is a great head to start with. It's going to just be so accurate. This is a phenomenal head for everybody. Next up, and this is in no particular order, I'm just pulling them out of the box. This is our small game turkey head. So basically, this is the XL 1 3/16 inch broadhead that we took the S series and made these cutouts out of it to create a broadhead that's going to stop very quickly when it hits a target, and that's the point. When this broadhead is shot into a bird or small game, the idea is that these cutouts in the blade decrease your penetration to essentially nothing so that all of your arrow's energy is released into that animal, ensuring a quick kill. And of course, with the arrow stuck in your animal, it's very hard for the little guys to get away. So that can really aid in recovery. Please never shoot a big game animal with these. I've had people email me asking if these are good for deer. It says small game. Please do not shoot these at a deer or anything like that. I wouldn't even shoot a coyote with these. Small game turkey. Read the label and follow it. But these are a really cool head. If you shoot tooth of the arrow already, throw one of these in your quiver. It's always good to have, if you come across a grouse or something small you want to take while you're on a hunt. The tooth of the arrow XL V series. This is a classic head. We've sold more of this than just about any other head. It's a bulletproof design. The venting allows us to keep so much of the weight in the center, making it as much like a field point as possible, yet it still has an impressive 1 3/16 inch cut diameter. So these things are just so good. These are the heads that got me into tooth of the arrow from day one. I shot tooth of the arrow for 2 or 3 years before I even ever spoke to anyone at the company. So this was the head that brought me there. This is an all-around compound head. So guys have success with these out of crossbows, but I like these out of compounds because of their size and they just fly so well. When you go to a crossbow, sometimes that added 3/16 of an inch cut diameter can impact the flight negatively just because of the speeds that crossbows are pushing nowadays. So these may or may not work for your crossbow. There's nothing wrong with trying it out, but these are really an all-around compound head. If you're, like most of us are, whitetail is your primary animal, or bears, this is a fantastic head for any whitetail hunters, any bear hunters. I mean, shooting elk or moose with this too, by all means. There's been lots killed with these. I like a slightly smaller head for those bigger animals because of the penetration stuff we talked about earlier, but this is like your all-arounder compound archer's head. To stick with the XL lineup, we've got the XLS series. So now this is the same kind of deal as the XLV series, although with this I would say do not shoot this out of a crossbow. The fact that there's no venting in the blades makes these very unforgiving at those crazy high speeds. They work amazing out of compounds. If your setup is really dialed, these are definitely a less forgiving head just because they're so big and there is no venting. So they're a little bit less forgiving, but if your setup is perfect, your arrows are perfect, and your form is good, these are a phenomenal head. They'll fly just like anything else, and you get then the benefit of the solid blade design, a little bit more durability, potentially quieter flight, and of course a little bit of an increase in penetration. So while they're a little bit less forgiving out of maybe a subpar setup, we could say, if your bow shoots really good and you know things are dialed, this is an amazing option for compound guys. Next up, we have my personal favorite of the 4 blades, the 1-inch solid. So this is just such an amazing head because it's 1 inch. We're able to still keep it really compact and weight centered, so it flies amazing out of pretty well anybody's setup. And you have those solid blades that just penetrate like crazy. They're durable. This broadhead is silent. This is a real winner. This is the broadhead that is in my quiver for most every hunt. Crossbows, again, may or may not shoot these super well because of that solid blade design. We don't typically push crossbow users to these. If you're shooting one of the higher weights, 125, 150 grain, these are really good for crossbows. If you're shooting 100 grain, I'd probably go with the vented model. But for compound guys who are really focused on penetration and silent flight, this is the option. It's an amazing head. And trad guys too. Trad guys love this head because it penetrates so well. So this is the one that's earned its spot in my quiver most of the time. And then of course, this looks like a incomplete pack here. I got the other one up on my display there. The 1-inch V series. This is the tooth of the arrow broadhead that put us on the map. This was the original design that, if you know tooth of the arrow, you know this broadhead. This is the crossbow broadhead. For those of you that have been waiting for me to get to the crossbow head in this video, this is it. It flies unbelievably well, even out to 400 and 500 feet per second. We've seen these shot, and they're just so accurate. They're so weight centered. They're so sharp. These have killed an unbelievable amount of animals across the world, and we just don't see any issues with them. So again, this is going to work for any setup, but if you're a crossbow guy, this is a really good option. Again, if you're new to compound archery and you're not so sure of your setup, maybe your arrow spine is a little bit out. If you're coming from mechanicals and you've never gotten super into the tuning and setup aspect of your stuff, and you've just shot mechanicals because they fly good, this is a great one to start with if you're jumping into the fixed blade world, because it's about as forgiving as it gets in terms of fixed blade broadheads. And when we say that we make the most field point like fixed blade broadhead ever made, this is the head we're referring to, the classic tooth of the arrow. Now, of course, we've got one more new head that we released this year, the 3-blade. This is a really cool head that rounds out our lineup super well. It's an in-between size. It's 1 inch and 1/8, so it's right between our 1-inch and our XL 4-blade models. It is a solid design. It flies so well. Again, since we released this, I haven't got a single email from someone saying that they can't get them to fly. Not a single one. A benefit of the 3-blade is that they're really easy to resharpen. Now, all the 4 blades are super easy to resharpen with our sharpener, but if you don't want to spend the extra money or you already have a flat stone, a 3-blade can be sharpened just on any common flat stone, and that's the biggest benefit that 3 blades offer. This is, again, really geared towards your compound guys, traditional guys. I wouldn't shoot this one out of a crossbow because it is that bigger solid blade design. This is just a really good head if you're a believer in 3 blades, you've had luck with 3 blades, you want to get away from some of the injection molded 3 blades that kind of dominate the market and move into the milled out of solid steel kind of way of thinking with broadheads. That's what this is going to get you. It's that classic 3 blade lethality that you're used to with higher standards of manufacturing. And of course, everything here on this table is made in the USA from American made steel. Even this plastic, we source it from the States. There's not a thing here that is made in China or overseas or anything like that. Tooth of the Arrow is as American as it gets, with the exception of me. I'm the only non-American thing in the company. I'm a Canadian, so hopefully that's close enough. But that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments below which Tooth of the Arrow is your choice and has earned a spot in your quiver. And if you have any questions, of course, please let us know. I love talking broadheads. I love talking archery. Thank you guys so much for watching.